I'm Emma, by the way. 28, senior marketing, the one who always has the reports done before the coffee's cold. I hate drama. I hate noise. I just want to do my job and go home. But everything changed since he appeared before me. The weekly team meeting was supposed to start at 9 wrong sharp. Mr. Harris, our manager, the guy who sweats when the printer jams, was already fidgeting by the whiteboard, tapping his pen like it owed him money. We were all there, me in the corner with my laptop, Sophie next to me scrolling memes under the table, the interns pretending to take notes. Then the door swung open, hard, like someone kicked it. Jason walked in like he owned the building. Designer sneakers, sunglasses still on indoors, a smirk that said he knew something we didn't. He didn't apologize, didn't even glance at the clock, just dropped his bag on the table right on top of my notes and said, loud enough for the whole floor to hear, "Oh, we haven't started yet. I thought everyone would wait for me." Silence. Dead silence. You could have heard a stapler drop. Mr. Harris opened his mouth, closed it, then forced this weak little smile that looked like it hurt. Jason, welcome. Take a seat. We were just—" "Cool, cool." Jason cut him off, sliding into the chair at the head of the table. The head. That's Mr. Harris's spot. No one said a word, not even Sophie, and she says everything. I just kept typing. Click, 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 like nothing happened. But inside, my stomach twisted. This guy had been here 30 seconds and already broke 3 unwritten rules. He leaned back, arms behind his head, and looked around like he was judging a bad Airbnb. "This room's kinda dark, huh?" he said, squinting at the ceiling. "I'll have someone change the lighting tomorrow. My uncle doesn't like gloomy vibes like this." He said it so casually, like ordering a latte. My uncle. There it was, the magic words. The CEO's nephew, the golden boy who didn't need a resume. Mr. Harris nodded too fast. "Of course, Jason, whatever you need. Whatever you need." I wanted to laugh or scream, but I didn't. I just stared at my screen, fingers frozen over the keys. Sophie kicked my shin under the table. I didn't look at her. I couldn't, because if I did, I'd see the same thing I was feeling. This isn't fair. Jason kept talking about his weekend in some rooftop bar, about how he closed a deal with his uncle's golf buddy, about how he was basically running things now. Every sentence started with "my uncle" or "I told them." The interns were nodding like dashboard dogs. Mr. Harris kept smiling that painful smile, and me? I just sat there, quiet, watching. After the meeting, he cornered me by the coffee machine. Not even a hello, just, "Emma, right? You're the one who does the reports?" I nodded. He grinned. "Cool. You'll be working with me. I'm the new project assistant." Assistant? Right. He said it like it was a promotion, like he'd earned it. I poured my coffee, black, no sugar, and said, "Sure, that's it. Sure." But inside, I was boiling, not the loud kind of angry, the slow kind, the kind that sits in your chest and waits. I've been at this company 5 years. 5 years of late nights, of fixing other people's mistakes, of getting the client to sign because I stayed until 2 a.m. rewriting the pitch. And now this guy, this kid who probably can't spell strategy, waltz in and takes the credit before he's even opened a spreadsheet? I walked back to my desk. Sophie was already waiting, arms crossed. "Did he just say he's changing the lights?" she whispered. I nodded. She snorted. "If I were you, I'd have slammed the table already." I didn't answer, just opened my laptop and started working. Because that's what I do. I work. I don't slam tables. I don't make scenes. I survive. But that day, something shifted. Not loud, not dramatic. Just a little click in my head, like a lock sliding into place. Jason kept talking. Loud, always loud, telling the interns about his vision for the team. I heard him say, "We're gonna shake things up around here." Shake things up. Right. I typed faster. Click, click, click. By lunch, the whole floor knew. Jason Miller, CEO's nephew, golden boy, here to save us all. Someone had already updated the org chart. His name was in bold, right under Mr. Harris. I stared at it for a second, then closed the tab. Sophie sent me a meme, a golden retriever wearing a crown, captioned, "New sheriff in town." I didn't laugh. That afternoon, he emailed the team. Subject, "Excited to lead." The exclamation point made my eye twitch. He asked for volunteers to help him get up to speed. No one replied, except me. I wrote back, "Happy to share the Q3 reports." Short, professional. He replied in 2 minutes. "Cool, send them over. Also, can you grab me a salad? No dressing. I'm watching my figure." I stared at the screen. No dressing. Watching his figure. I didn't reply. I printed the reports instead, walked to his desk, new desk, right by the window, best view in the office, and dropped them in front of him. He didn't look up from his phone. "Thanks, babe," he said. Babe. I walked away, didn't say a word, but my hands were shaking, not from anger, from something colder. The lights were already being changed. Some guy from facilities showed up with a ladder and a box of LEDs. Jason stood there, arms crossed, nodding like he was directing a movie. "Brighter," he said. "My uncle hates dim." The guy nodded. Mr. Harris hovered nearby, wringing his hands. I packed my bag and left. Didn't say goodbye. On the train home, I stared out the window. The city lights blurred past. I kept replaying his voice. My uncle. My uncle. My uncle. Like a spell. Like a threat. I thought about the 5 years I'd given this place, the promotions I'd earned, the clients I'd saved, and now this guy who didn't even know where the printer was. I got home, kicked off my shoes, and opened a beer, sat on the couch in the dark, didn't turn on the lights. I didn't want bright. I wanted quiet. I wanted to think. Because something told me this wasn't just a bad day. This was the beginning. I didn't know it then, but that was the first day I learned to stay silent to survive. The next morning, I walked in with my usual coffee, black, no sugar, and there he was, Jason, already at my desk. Not his desk by the window. Mine, feet up, scrolling his phone, a half-eaten donut leaving crumbs on my keyboard. He looked up like I was the one interrupting. "Emma, perfect. I've got this report due by noon. But I'm swamped. You're better at this than me, right? Just polish it up." He slid a single printed page across the desk. One page, handwritten, in purple pen. I stared at it. Numbers scribbled, arrows everywhere, words like synergy circled 3 times. I opened my mouth, closed it. He was already standing. "Thanks. You're a lifesaver. I've got a meeting with my uncle." And he was gone. Just like that. I sat down. Crumbs stuck to my fingers. Sophie peeked over the cubicle wall. "Did he just dump his homework on you?" I nodded. She whispered, "If I were you, I'd have slammed the table already." I didn't answer, just opened a new spreadsheet and started typing. Because what else could I do? Say no to the CEO's nephew? I'd be out the door by lunch. So I fixed it. Turned his chicken scratch into clean data, charts, projections. By 11:55, I emailed it back. Subject, report, final. No note. He replied with a thumbs-up emoji. That was it. But it didn't stop there. Oh no, that was just Tuesday. By Wednesday, he was interfering in everything. Emails at 8 a.m. "Emma, can you pull the client list?" "Emma, can you book the conference room?" "Emma, can you grab me a latte? Oat milk, 2 pumps vanilla?" I did it. Every time. Not because I wanted to. Because Mr. Harris kept glancing over, sweating, waiting for me to complain. I didn't. I just worked. Faster. Quieter. Like, if I moved quick enough, he wouldn't notice me. Thursday was the big one. The quarterly review. Mr. Harris had asked me 2 weeks ago to put together the marketing report. I'd stayed late 3 nights in a row, polished slides, client feedback, growth metrics. I even added a new section on social trends. I was proud of it. Not showy proud, just satisfied. Like when you finally get the numbers to line up perfectly. I saved it to the shared drive, emailed the team, and went to bed early for once. The meeting started at 2. Mr. Harris at the head, me on the side with my laptop ready to present if needed. Then Jason walked in. Late again. But this time, he had a folder. My folder. The one I'd printed for backups. He smiled at Mr. Harris. "I've got this." Mr. Harris blinked. "Oh, sure, Jason. Go ahead." I froze. Jason opened the folder, stood up, and started talking. "So this is the proposal I mentioned yesterday. Glad Emma understood my idea." My idea. I felt Sophie's foot nudge mine under the table. I didn't move. He clicked through my slides, my words, my charts. "As you can see, the Q3 growth is up 12% thanks to the targeted ads I suggested. I wrote that. I stayed up until midnight testing those ads." He kept going. "And the client retention? That's because I pushed for the follow-up strategy. I pushed. I wrote the emails. I made the calls." Mr. Harris was nodding, smiling, the real kind this time. "Great work, Jason." Jason beamed. "Thanks. Team effort, right, Emma?" He looked at me, expected me to nod. I did. Once. Short. Inside, I was screaming. Not loud, not with words. Just this cold, sharp thing in my chest, like ice cracking. Sophie texted me under the table. WTF. I didn't reply. Just closed my laptop. Click. The meeting ended. Everyone clapped for Jason. He soaked it up. I packed my things and left. Didn't say congratulations. Didn't say anything. Friday was worse. I got to my desk and opened the team chat. The name had changed. Team Sir Jason. His profile picture. Him in sunglasses, arms crossed, smirking. A message pinned at the top. "Let's keep it professional, folks. Call me Mr. Miller from now on. Respect goes a long way." I stared at it. Sophie burst out laughing across the room. "Too loud?" Jason looked up. "Something funny?" She stopped. "Nope, just coffee went down wrong." He nodded. "Good. Professionalism." Then he messaged me. Private. "Emma, next time address me as Mr. Miller in meetings." Sounds better. I read it 3 times. My fingers hovered over the keys. I typed, "Noted. Sent." That was it. He replied, "Atta girl. Atta girl." I closed the chat. Didn't slam it. Didn't delete it. Just closed it. I started paying attention after that. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind. I noticed how he'd forward emails to me, with urgent in the subject, then leave at 5. How he'd take hour-long lunch breaks, but complain if anyone else was 5 minutes late. How he'd stand by the printer, tapping his foot, waiting for someone else to fix the jam. I didn't write it down, not yet, but I remembered. Every time he said, "My uncle." Every time he took credit. Every time he smiled like he'd won something. Sophie kept pushing. "You gonna let him walk all over you?" I shrugged. "What choice do I have?" She rolled her eyes. "Fight back." I didn't answer, because fighting back meant losing, meant getting labeled difficult, meant risking everything I'd built. So I stayed calm. On the outside. Inside, I was counting, watching, waiting. That night, I sat on my couch with a glass of wine, stared at the wall, thought about the report. My report, his name on it. Thought about Mr. Miller. Thought about the latte I'd bought him. Oat milk, 2 pumps. I didn't cry, didn't throw the glass. Just sat there, quiet, like always. But something had changed. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was observing. I didn't react. But from that day on, I started observing. Monday rolled in like a bad hangover from the weekend. I was at my desk by 8:15, coffee cooling, inbox already at 37 unread. Jason pushed boundaries further before most people had even opened their laptops. He strutted past the cubicles with a shiny new leather briefcase, the kind that costs more than my rent, and announced to no one in particular, "My uncle's sending me to Singapore next week to meet major partners. Staying here doing these small reports is a waste of time." He said it loud, like he wanted the whole floor to hear. Sophie, halfway through her yogurt, snorted so hard she choked. I didn't look up, just kept typing, but I felt it. That little twist in my gut. Another lie, wrapped in a boast. He dropped the briefcase on his desk with a thud that made the interns jump. Then he started packing. Not work stuff. Sunglasses, noise-canceling headphones, a travel pillow, shaped like a necktie. "Gotta prep for the red eye," he said to Mr. Harris, who was hovering nearby with a clipboard. Mr. Harris nodded like a bobblehead. "Of course, Jason. Big opportunity." Opportunity. Right. I glanced at the calendar. No trips listed, no budget approvals. Nothing. But Jason kept talking about closing the deal in person and how these partners only respect face-to-face. I started losing faith in fairness right then, watching Mr. Harris swallow every word like it was gospel. By Wednesday, the truth trickled out. Not from Jason, of course, from the IT guy who'd been asked to set up a secure connection for the meeting. Sophie overheard him in the break room. "Yeah, it's just a Zoom. He's not even on camera. Just listening in." She texted me immediately. "Singapore. Your couch, apparently." I stared at the message. Zoom. From his apartment. While the rest of us slaved over the campaign he'd barely touched. I didn't reply. Just closed the chat and opened the shared drive. His prep notes were a single bullet point. Impress them. That was it. I felt the ice in my chest thicken. But the real poison came Thursday. We were in the small conference room, hashing out the budget for the new client pitch. One of the juniors, Tim, I think his name was, pushed back on Jason's idea to blow half the allocation on a single influencer. "It's risky," Tim said, voice shaking a little. "We could spread it across 3 platforms for better reach." Jason leaned forward, elbows on the table, smile gone. "I'm not sure my uncle would like to hear about this." That was all. No yelling, no threat. Just those words, quiet and sharp. Tim's face went white. Mr. Harris cleared his throat. Let's table that for now." By Friday morning, Tim was gone, transferred to the warehouse team downtown. No warning, no goodbye. His desk cleared out, a sticky note on the monitor. "It will reassign." Sophie stormed over to my cubicle. "Did you hear? They docked his bonus, too. Said performance issues." Performance. The kid had been here 3 months and pulled 2 all-nighters last week. I nodded. Didn't say anything, just watched the empty chair where Tim used to sit. Another one bites the dust. It kept happening. Little things at first. Someone questions Jason's timeline. Next day they're on the night shift. Someone forgets to call him Mr. Miller. Suddenly their parking spot's reassigned. He didn't even have to raise his voice. Just that line. My uncle wouldn't like to hear about this. Like a magic spell. People started avoiding eye contact, walking the long way around his desk, laughing too loud at his jokes, even the ones that weren't funny. Sophie tried to fight it. She cornered Mr. Harris by the copier. "This is insane. We're losing good people because Golden Boy can't handle feedback." Mr. Harris glanced around, sweating. "Sophie, please. It's just temporary." Temporary. Right. She came back, fuming. "If I were you, I'd have slammed the table already." I shrugged. "And end up like Tim?" She didn't answer, just went back to her desk and typed louder than usual. I watched it all. Quietly. The way Jason would lean back in his chair, feet up, scrolling travel blogs about Singapore, while the rest of us scrambled to cover his work. The way he'd interrupt meetings with, "Actually, My uncle said, and everyone would stop talking. The way Mr. Harris started ending every email with "per Jason's direction." I started to see the pattern. Push, threaten, win. No consequences, no accountability, just power, raw and ugly. One afternoon, I was in the break room refilling my water. Jason was there, on the phone, loud as ever. Yeah, Singapore's gonna be huge. Private dinner with the partners? My uncle set it all up. I filled my bottle, didn't look at him, but I heard the intern behind me whisper to another, "He's not even leaving the building. ID confirmed the Zoom link." Jason ended the call, turned and saw me, smirked. "Jealous, Emma? Maybe next time." I didn't answer, just walked out, bottle cold in my hand. That night, I sat on the train home, staring at my reflection in the window. The city lights blurred past. I thought about Tim's empty desk, about the bonuses that vanished, about the way everyone flinched now when Jason walked by. I thought about fairness, about how I used to believe in it, how if you worked hard, stayed professional, did the right thing, it would matter. But here, it didn't. Not anymore. I got off at my stop. The air was cold. I pulled my coat tighter, walked the 3 blocks to my apartment, didn't turn on the lights when I got inside, just sat on the couch in the dark, quiet, like always. Everyone bowed their heads, except me. I just stayed silent. Friday morning, the team chat lit up. Jason had pinned a new message. "Team bonding tonight. Rooftop bar, 7 p.m., my treat. Mandatory fun." I stared at the screen. Tonight, the same night the Henderson campaign revisions were due at 8 a.m. sharp. I'd been reminding everyone for 2 weeks. I'd even color-coded the timeline and taped it to the whiteboard. Jason had nodded along in the last meeting, thumbs flying on his phone. Now this. He targeted me directly next, and it started with a calendar invite that blocked out my entire evening. I opened the shared drive. The final deck was 80% done. I still needed client notes, budget sign-off, and 2 hours of rendering. Sophie leaned over the partition. "He knows, right? About the deadline?" I nodded. "He was in the room when I presented it." She whistled low. "This is war." I didn't answer, just minimized the chat and kept working. But the hook was in. A minor event, party versus deadline, was about to ignite the real conflict. Jason was making rounds. He stopped at every desk with a printed flyer, neon colors, clip art cocktails. When he reached mine, he dropped it like a poker chip. "Emma, you're coming, yeah? Anyone who doesn't show up clearly lacks team spirit." He said it loud enough for the whole row to hear. A couple of interns laughed nervously. Mr. Harris, passing with his coffee, pretended not to notice. I looked at the flyer, then at him. "I have the Henderson revisions." He waved it off. "Plenty of time. Bring your laptop if you're worried. We'll call it a working party." He winked and moved on. I folded the flyer into a tiny square and dropped it in the trash. The office emptied like someone pulled a plug. Laughter echoed down the hall, high heels clicking toward the elevator. Sophie lingered. "Come for one drink, show face." I shook my head. "Clients expecting the deck by morning." She sighed. "Text me if you need bail money." Then she was gone. I stayed. Lights dimmed to motion sensor mode. Just me, the hum of the server room, and the glow of my screen. I worked. 7:12, 8:03, 9:27. Saved the final file. Emailed it to the client with a polite note. CC'd Mr. Harris. No Jason. I shut down, grabbed my bag, and left. The rooftop bar was 6 blocks away. I could still hear the bass thumping as I walked to the subway. Monday hit like a slap. Mr. Harris asked me to step into his office. Door closed. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Emma, about Friday. Jason says the team event was important for morale. Your absence, it sent a message." I waited. He shifted papers that didn't need shifting. "I'm going to have to note this as a lack of team participation. It'll go in your file. My file. 5 years, 0 write-ups, and now this. I nodded. Understood. He looked relieved. Good. Let's move forward. I walked out. Sophie was waiting by the copier. Told you. War. The team chat exploded with photos. Jason had posted a carousel. Everyone holding neon drinks, mister. Harris in a paper crown. Interns doing shots. The last slide was a selfie. Jason's arm around an empty bar stool. Caption? Great night with the crew. Emma's probably too busy being productive. He tagged me. The little blue notification sat there like a dare. Reactions trickled in. Thumbs up. Laughing emojis. One intern wrote, "Work hard, play hard." I stared until the screen blurred. Sophie stormed over. Delete the tag, report him. I shook my head. Makes it worse. She huffed. If I were you, I'd have slammed the table already. I closed the chat. Opened the Henderson feedback instead. Client loved it. No notes, but the bullying didn't stop at photos. Tuesday afternoon, the client emailed back, furious. Subject line in all caps, "Where is the follow-up?" I opened the thread. My original send showed delivered. Their reply, never received. I checked sent items, empty. I checked trash, nothing. Then Jason's voice behind me, casual as ever. I already sent it. Emma probably forgot to double-check. Mr. Harris was already there, summoned by the commotion. Jason held up his phone like evidence. See? Timestamp. 9:47 a.m. I opened my own sent folder again. Still empty. My stomach dropped. He must have deleted it from the server. Mr. Harris sighed. Emma, this is sloppy. Jason wasn't done. He typed an email right there, CC'd the CEO, the client, the entire leadership chain. Unfortunately, Emma's oversight caused a delay in my project. I've resent the materials to keep us on track. My project. I watched the send arrow spin. The client replied within minutes. Appreciate the quick recovery, Jason. Mr. Harris patted Jason's shoulder. Good save. Then to me, quieter. We'll talk performance later. I nodded. Once. The room spun a little. Sophie texted, "You okay?" I didn't answer. I went to the bathroom, locked the stall, stared at the graffiti on the door until my eyes watered. Not tears, just pressure. I thought about quitting, walking out, starting over somewhere sane. But I'd built this. 5 years, relationships, results. And he was dismantling it with a smile. I washed my hands. Cold water, looked in the mirror. My reflection looked calm. Inside, something shifted. Not hot anger, cold resolve. Back at my desk, Jason was laughing with the interns. I sat down, opened a new doc, untitled, started typing. Not the campaign, not the numbers, just dates, times, quotes. Lacks team spirit. My project. Oversight. Every word a pin. I saved it to a hidden folder. Password protected. Then I smiled at Sophie across the aisle. A real one. She frowned, confused. I smiled, because if I didn't, I might have said something that would get me fired. Wednesday. The client's email hit the team inbox like a grenade. Subject, where is the confirmation deck? Deadline missed. All caps. I was mid-sip of coffee when the notification flashed. The deck was the follow-up to Henderson. 23 slides. Finalized. Last night. Sent at 2:17. I opened my sent folder. Empty. Trash. Empty. Drafts. Nothing. My pulse slowed, the way it does right before a crash. Jason will make a bigger mistake, I thought. This was it, and I was the main target now. Mr. Harris burst out of his office, face blotchy. Conference room. Now. Everyone filed in. Jason was already there, leaning against the table, arms crossed, looking bored. The client's rep was on speaker, voice tight. We were promised delivery. This is unacceptable. Mr. Harris stammered apologies. I stood by the door, laptop closed. Then Jason spoke, calm as ordering lunch. Emma probably forgot to double-check. Heads turned. Sophie's eyes widened. I felt the room tilt. He didn't even look at me. He kept going. I asked her to send it last night. Guess it slipped. Slipped. I'd attached the file, hit send, watched the progress bar fill. Mr. Harris turned to me. Emma? I opened my mouth. Nothing came. Because what could I say? Check the server? I did send it? They'd want proof, and Jason knew I wouldn't have it. Not yet. The client sighed on the line. Fix this. Today? Click. Silence. Jason pulled out his phone, thumbs flying. 10 seconds later, my inbox pinged. From him. CC. CEO, Mr. Harris, the client, half the exec team. Unfortunately, Emma's oversight delayed my project. I've resent the deck from my backup to keep us on track. Apologies for the inconvenience. My project. The deck I'd built from scratch. The one he'd barely glanced at. Mr. Harris read it over my shoulder, exhaled through his nose. We'll discuss this later, Emma. Jason smiled, small, satisfied. I walked back to my desk on autopilot, sat, stared at the screen. Sophie hovered. He deleted it. You know he did. I nodded once. She whispered, Fight back. I didn't answer, just opened the server logs, quietly, in a new tab. Nothing obvious yet. But I bookmarked the page. Jason sauntered past, latte in hand. Rough morning, huh? I didn't look up. My fingers rested on the keys, still. Inside, the ice cracked. Not into anger, into something sharper. The rest of the day blurred. Client called twice more. Jason took both. All charm and we're handling it. Mr. Harris avoided me. Sophie sent memes. A dumpster fire, a clown. I didn't laugh. Another email from Jason. This one to the whole floor. Quick reminder. Double check sends, team. Let's avoid slip-ups. With a winking emoji, the replies rolled in. Got it. On it, Mr. Miller. I closed my laptop. The office hummed with fake busyness. I packed my bag. Left without a word. On the train, I watched the city slide by. Thought about the deck. The hours. The way Jason's voice didn't even shake when he lied. Thought about the party photos. The team player note in my file. The way everyone just accepted it. I got off at my stop. Walked slow. The air was cold, sharp. I didn't feel it. At home, I didn't turn on the lights. Just sat on the couch, phone in hand. Opened the company app. Remote access. I'd never used it before. Not like this. I logged in. Navigated to the email server, searched sent items. My account. Still empty. Then Jason's. There it was. My deck. Sent at 2:19 a.m. from his laptop. 2 minutes after mine vanished. I stared until the screen dimmed. Proof. Not enough. But a start. I made tea, chamomile, let it cool. Thought about screaming. About quitting. About walking into the CEO's office with printouts. But that would be noise, and noise gets ignored, or punished. I needed quiet, precise. I opened a new note on my phone, titled it Timeline, added the email delete, the party, the credit steals, the threats, every date, every word, saved it to the cloud. Password, the date I started here. 5 years ago, Sophie texted, You alive? I replied, planning. She sent a skull emoji. I set the phone down, looked out the window. The neighbor's light flickered on. Normal life. I used to have that. Before Jason. Before the lies became routine. I stood, paced, stopped in front of the mirror. My eyes looked different. Not tired, not defeated, focused, like a scope lining up. I went to bed at midnight. Set my alarm for 5 a.m. The client would get their deck. Again, I'd make sure. But this time, I'd leave a trail. A quiet one. Jason thought he'd won the round. He didn't know the game had changed. From that moment, I knew I wouldn't stay silent anymore. Friday. Sharp, the boardroom filled like a theater before the curtain. This was the Apex campaign. Our biggest pitch of the year. 6 months of blood, spreadsheets, and sleepless nights. The CEO himself flew in for it. Mr. Harris paced by the projector, tie too tight. Sophie slid into the seat next to me, whispering, "Showtime." I nodded. My part was done. The data deck, 42 slides of market analysis, ROI projections, competitor heat maps. I'd uploaded the final version last night, triple-checked the share link, even emailed a backup to Mr. Harris. A major event was about to make Jason go too far. I could feel it, and I was already preparing my quiet retaliation. The CEO, Mr. Miller, gray suit, no smile, took the head of the table. "Jason, you're presenting the numbers." Jason stood, smoothing his jacket. That same smirk. "Absolutely, Uncle, sir." He clicked the remote. The screen flickered. Loading wheel. Then, file not found. His face went slack. The room shifted. "Mister," Harris cleared his throat. "Try refreshing." Jason clicked again. Same error. Sweat beaded on his forehead. He scrolled the shared drive frantically, folders flying past. "It was here. I swear." Panic cracked his voice. He turned to me, eyes wild. Maybe Emma didn't upload the final version." The words hung in the air like smoke. Sophie's foot stopped swinging under the table. Mr. Harris froze. The CEO's gaze snapped to me, cold and sharp. "Emma?" I met it. Said nothing. My hands stayed folded in my lap. Jason kept babbling. "She handles the uploads. I gave her the updates yesterday." Updates. He'd sent one emoji-filled email. "Make it pop." That was it. The CEO leaned forward. "Emma, what kind of carelessness is this?" His voice cut clean through the room. 20 pairs of eyes on me. Interns, execs, the client on video call, eyebrows raised. I felt the weight, heavy and hot. My throat tightened. I could have spoken. Could have said I uploaded it. Could have pulled the backup from my laptop right then. But I didn't. I bowed my head. "I'm sorry." The words tasted like ash. Mr. Harris exhaled, disappointed. Jason relaxed, shoulders dropping. The CEO shook his head. "Unacceptable. Jason, improvise. We don't have time for excuses." Jason stumbled through the next 20 minutes. Wrong numbers, missing charts. Engagement was high?" The client's face on screen went from curious to stone. By the end, the CEO cut him off. "We'll reconvene Monday. Fix this." He stormed out. Mr. Harris followed like a shadow. Jason avoided my eyes as he packed his laptop. Sophie whispered, "You okay?" I nodded. Once. But inside, the ice had shattered. Something cold and clear took its place. I walked back to my desk, slow. The office buzzed. Whispers, side eyes. Someone had already started a new chat. What happened in there? I ignored it. Sat. Opened the shared drive. The file was gone. Not moved. Not archived. Deleted. Timestamp, 1:03 a.m. I knew whose login it was before I even checked. I'd seen him brag about late-night genius sessions on his phone. I closed the tab, didn't flinch, didn't cry, just breathed. Sophie hovered. "He set you up." Again. I didn't answer. Just opened my hidden note from last night. Added, Apex deck deleted, 1:03 a.m. Saved. Then I stood, grabbed my water bottle, walked to the server room. No one noticed. The door clicked shut behind me. Cool air, humming fans. I logged into the admin console. Senior access, rarely used. Scrolled the activity log. There it was, Jason Miller. Login, 12:57 a.m. Action, delete. File, Apex, data, final v3 pp.x. I screenshot it, saved to my drive, encrypted. Back at my desk, I acted normal. Replied to emails. Fixed a typo in the backup deck I'd emailed Mr. Harris. He never opened it. Jason avoided the floor entirely. Rumor said he was prepping damage control with his uncle. I didn't care. I was done reacting. Done smiling. The retaliation would be quiet. Precise. Like surgery. The office emptied. I stayed. Lights dimmed. Just me and the glow of my screen. I pulled every log, every delete, every credit steal, every email where he'd CC'd the CEO blaming me. I built a folder, named it nothing, zipped it, password. The day he walked in late. I didn't send it. Not yet. I needed more. But I had the blade now. I shut down. Walked to the elevator. The building was quiet. Too quiet. I pressed the button. Waited. Thought about the meeting. The way the CEO looked at me. The way Jason's voice cracked. The way I bowed my head. I didn't feel humiliated. I felt awake. He didn't know. The system logs record everything. Saturday. The office was a ghost town. I'd told security I was finishing a client deliverable when I swiped in. The badge beeped, the elevator sighed open, and the hallway stretched ahead under half-lit fluorescence that flickered like bad memories. Emma starts gathering evidence now, I reminded myself, stepping over the threshold. My revenge will be quiet, but precise. I locked the glass door behind me, flipped the little plastic sign to "Cleaning in Progress," and let the silence settle. Outside the windows, the city pulsed. Red taillights, neon signs, people living lives that didn't involve deleted files, and golden nephews. In here, it was just me, the low hum of the HVAC, and the weight of what I was about to do. I didn't go to my cubicle right away. I walked the floor first, slow, past the interns' empty desks, their sticky notes curling at the edges, past Sophie's corner, where a half-eaten bag of gummy worms sat next to her second monitor, past Mr. Harris's office, door cracked, the faint smell of his cheap cologne lingering, and finally, past Jason's throne by the window. His chair was pushed in, perfectly centered. A framed photo of him and the CEO at some golf retreat stared back. I didn't touch it, just looked. Then I sat at my own desk, the one with the chipped corner from when I dropped my laptop last year. I opened the drawer, took out the black USB key I'd bought at lunch, matte, no brand, shaped like a house key. I rolled it between my fingers. Cold, solid, ready. The internal log system loaded after two-factor. I'd only ever used it to chase down a corrupted spreadsheet or figure out why the printer queue died. Tonight, it was a courtroom. I typed the filters, shared drive, Apex folder, last 72 hours. The list populated, hundreds of tiny actions, views, edits, downloads. I scrolled slow, eyes scanning timestamps like a hawk. 11:47 p.m. My upload. File size, 43 MB. User, E. Carter. Then nothing for an hour. My pulse stayed even. I knew what was coming. 1:03 a.m. There it was. Delete. User, J. Miller. IP, his home cable. Device, ID, the same MacBook he bragged about buying with his first bonus. I clicked the entry. A pop-up showed the full audit trail. He'd logged in at 12:57, navigated straight to the folder, hovered for 9 seconds, then dragged the file to trash. Emptied it. I leaned closer to the screen. The cursor blinked. I screenshot the whole thing, twice, once zoomed, once full page, saved both to a new folder on my desktop. Evidence. Password, the exact date and time he'd first walked in late and said, "I thought everyone would wait for me." Or 9:03, 9:40 a.m. Let him carry that. I didn't stop there. I went wider. Email archives. I pulled every thread where he'd CC'd the CEO blaming me, Henderson delay, Emma's oversight. I exported the metadata. Send times. Read receipts. His IP again. Then the team chat. I downloaded the full export. Party photos. Lacks team spirit. The winking emoji after calling my work sloppy. I opened the quarterly report he'd presented. My original draft was still in version history, time-stamped 3:12 a.m., the night before the meeting. His final was a copy-paste with 2 typos I'd never make. I screenshotted the diffs. Side by side, red underlines, like blood. I worked in silence. No music, no notifications. just the soft click of the mouse and the occasional creak of the building settling. I pulled the performance notes. Mr. Harris had uploaded the team player warning to my file. The morning after the party, I downloaded the PDF, highlighted the line, "Employee chose not to attend mandatory morale event." Mandatory. Right. I added it to the pile. The folder grew. Logs, emails, chats, reports, screenshots. I zipped it, encrypted it, named the file 00zip. Nothing to see here. I copied it to the USB. Then to my personal cloud under a folder called Taxes 2019. Then to a second USB in my purse. Redundancy. I wasn't taking chances. I ejected the drive, slid it into my bra, right against my skin. Cold metal on warm heartbeat. Proof. Closes breath. I stood, walked to the window. The 32nd floor looked down on the river, black and glossy under streetlights. A barge slid past, slow and silent. I thought about power. His was inherited. Blood, name, fear. Mine was built, line by line, in the dark. Intelligence versus entitlement. He thought deleting a file ended the story. I was writing the epilogue. I went back to the desk, opened a private browser, new email, no account tied to me, draft only. 2. The board, CEO, CFO, KHRO, General Counsel, 2 VPs who'd sat stone-faced in the Apex meeting. I attached the zip. In the body, the password, then the message. Attached. Complete audit trail, system logs, and documentation of repeated sabotage, credit theft, and abuse of position by Jason Miller. Apex file uploaded by Emma Carter, 11:47 p.m., deleted by Jason Miller, 1:03 a.m. His login, home IP. Additional incidents: Henderson email tampering, false performance claims, misuse of nepotism to intimidate staff. Review attached evidence. Act as you see fit. For those who value fairness. I read it 4 times. No heat, no plea, no name, just facts. I hovered over send. The cursor blinked. I thought about the meeting again. The way the CEO's voice sliced through the room. The way Jason's lie landed clean. The way I bowed my head like a scolded child. My finger lowered. Pressed. The bar filled. Email sent. No copy. No trace. I closed the browser. Cleared cache. Shut down the computer. The screen went black, reflecting my face. Calm, eyes sharp. I stood in the dark office, alone. The USB pressed cold against my chest. I walked to the door, paused at Jason's desk. His Sir Jason mug sat there, half full of yesterday's coffee, a ring stained inside. I didn't touch it, just looked. Then I turned off the last light and left. Email subject: for those who value fairness. Monday. The elevator doors parted with their usual soft chime, and Jason stepped onto the floor exactly on cue, sunglasses perched on his head, even though the sky outside was gray, takeaway latte in one hand, phone in the other. The email had reached upper management hours ago, while most of us were still asleep, and the truth was about to surface like a shark under calm water. He didn't know. He never checked his work inbox before 8:30. He dropped his bag on the leather chair that cost more than my first car, flicked open his laptop, and took a long sip. The screen lit his face blue. 31 seconds later, the intercom crackled. Jason Miller to the CEO's office, immediately. No extension, no, please see me when you can. Just the summons, cold and final. His smirk twitched. He set the latte down too hard. Brown liquid sloshed over the rim, staining the white lid. He grabbed a legal pad, smoothed his tie, and forced a laugh for the nearest intern. Probably wants the Singapore update early. The kid nodded too fast. Jason strode to the elevator. The doors closed. The floor indicator climbed. 32, 35, 38, 42, and stopped. We all stared at the numbers like they were a countdown. Sophie rolled her chair to my cubicle. Did you see his face? Like someone yanked his crown. I didn't answer, just kept typing a client status report. But inside, the air felt electric, Truth versus privilege. The system was finally moving. By 8:27, the first whisper hit the unofficial Slack channel. Water cooler, the one HR pretended not to monitor. Golden Boy dragged upstairs. No coffee run for him today. A reply? Boardroom's locked. Saw legal in there. Then a screenshot, the HR leave notice in draft. Someone added popcorn emojis. The messages multiplied. Logs leaked. 1 a.m. delete his IP. Credit theft, email tampering, all of it. Anonymous dropped to the entire C-suite. No one said my name. They didn't have to. The rumors spread faster than the morning coffee, under cubicle walls, through headset mics, in bathroom stalls. By 8:41, even the finance floor was texting. Marketing's nephew toast? I refreshed the channel. New ping every 3 seconds. The company was waking up to the scandal. At 9:05, the official hammer fell. All staff email, red priority flag. Subject, personnel update. Body, effective immediately. Jason Miller is placed on administrative leave, pending internal review. Please direct Apex campaign questions to Emma Carter. My name, in bold. Sophie's eyes went wide. They put you in charge? I shrugged, kept typing, but the floor erupted in low chaos. Interns clustered by the printer, pretending to collate. The accountants left their glass offices, ties loosened, whispering. Someone pulled the org chart. Jason's box grayed out, a thin red strike through his title. The rumors solidified. Board saw everything. CEO's furious. Family dinner's gonna be awkward. Suspension's just the start. The group chat, Team Sir Jason, went silent at 9:47. The last message hung there, frozen. An intern asking, "Wait, suspended for real?" No reply, no laughing emojis, no thumbs up. The pinned reminder, "Call me Mr. Miller. Respect goes a long way." Looked like a bad joke now. I refreshed. Still nothing. Sophie stared at her phone. It's dead. Like someone pulled the plug. I closed the app, took a slow sip of coffee. Black. Bitter. The silence in the chat felt heavier than any argument. Mr. Harris emerged at 10:15, tie crooked, forehead shiny. He clapped once, weak, like a nervous tick, and called us to the whiteboard. "Everyone, quick huddle. Let's stay focused." His voice cracked on focused. Someone asked, "Is Jason fired?" Mr. Harris forced a chuckle, the kind that dies in your throat. "I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding. No need to speculate." He wiped his brow with a crumpled tissue. "Back to your desks. Productivity." We shuffled apart. He lingered by the coffee station, staring into his mug like it might sprout answers. The man who'd written me up for team spirit, who'd parroted every lie, now pretending the sky wasn't falling. Privilege crumbling, and he was clutching at smoke. I watched from my cube. He avoided my eyes, avoided everyone's. At 10:43, he got a call. His phone buzzed so hard it danced on the table. He answered in the hallway, voice low. "Yes, sir. I had no idea. Of course I'll cooperate." He came back pale, tie now completely askew, sat at his desk, stared at nothing. By noon, the second HR email landed. Jason Miller has been suspended effective immediately. Further updates to follow. No pending review. Just suspended. The chat stayed dead. The floor buzzed, but quieter, like a hive after the queen's gone. I ate at my desk. Tuna on rye, apple, sparkling water, normal. Inside, cold satisfaction settled, layer by layer. Not glee, justice. IT arrived. 2 guys in polo shirts, tool belts clinking. They wiped Jason's computer, unplugged the monitors, boxed the framed golf photo, the Sir Jason mug, the noise-canceling headphones, a single post-it on the tower. Return to HR. Sophie watched from the aisle. Poetic justice in cardboard. I didn't smile, just forwarded the client's Apex approval to the team. Deck accepted. Next steps attached. Mr. Harris replied, all, "Great work, Emma." No mention of Jason. At 2:03, the final nail, a third email, CEO's signature. Leadership transition in marketing effective today. Emma Carter appointed interim project lead. My inbox flooded. Congrats from people who'd ignored me for months. I archived them. The floor felt lighter. The two bright lights Jason demanded now exposed every empty corner of his reign. By 5:07, his desk was bare, chair pushed in, trash emptied, the office smelled faintly of lemon cleaner. Sophie rolled by. It's like he was never here. I packed my bag. The city outside hummed. Rush hour, neon, life. I took the elevator down alone. The truth had surfaced. Privilege lost. For once. And then the office became as quiet as it was before he arrived. Tuesday. Jason left the company without a word. I was already at my desk when the elevator dinged one last time. He stepped out in a plain hoodie, none of the designer swagger, carrying a single cardboard box, no sunglasses, no smirk. His eyes scanned the floor once, skipped over me, and fixed on the exit. He didn't stop at his desk. Didn't say goodbye to Mr. Harris, who hovered by the copier, pretending to read memos. Jason just walked. The automatic doors slid open, swallowed him, and closed. The box didn't even rattle. Emma reflects on her journey now, I thought, and a closing lesson is about to wrap up the story. By 9:15, his access was revoked. Badge deactivated. Email bounced. The org chart updated. His name gone, like a tooth pulled clean. The floor felt bigger, brighter. The two harsh LEDs he'd demanded now lit empty space. Someone had already moved a potted ficus into his corner. Sophie wheeled over. Ghosted us. Poetic. I nodded, kept entering client notes. Inside, the anger I'd carried for weeks sat quiet, wrestling with a serenity I wasn't sure I trusted. Mr. Harris called a stand-up at 10. He stood by the whiteboard, marker uncapped but unused. Team, Jason's departure is sudden. Maybe he just needs some time off. His chuckle came out strangled, like a cough. He glanced at the empty desk, then away. Let's focus on Apex. Emma's leading. No one asked questions. The interns shuffled. Sophie raised an eyebrow. Mr. Harris capped the marker. Back to it. He retreated to his office, door half shut. I watched him sit, stare at his screen, then rub his temples. The man who'd enforced every rule Jason broke now rewriting history in real time. The day moved slow. Emails trickled. Congrats on the interim role. Offers to grab coffee and debrief. I archived most. Fixed the Apex budget. Called the client myself. They asked about Jason once. I said, he's no longer involved. They moved on. At lunch, I ate at my desk. Salad, no dressing. The silence in the office wasn't awkward anymore. It was clean. Sophie cornered me at 2:37 by the coffee machine. She held 2 mugs, hers with 3 sugars, mine black. Aren't you going to celebrate? She grinned, eyes sparkling. Champagne? Karaoke. Burn his mug in effigy. I took the coffee, warm, steady. If I were you, I'd be popping champagne right now. Her voice carried the tease, but underneath, relief. For both of us. I sipped. The bitterness grounded me. Anger flickered. Old habit. Serenity pushed back, cooler. I looked at her. Really looked. The friend who'd kicked my shin under tables. Sent memes. Never let me forget I wasn't alone. No need, I said softly. Peace is enough. She studied me. The grin faded to something real. You're weirdly calm. I shrugged. I fought quiet. One quiet. She nodded. Slow. Fair. We stood there, steam curling between us. The machine gurgled, refilled. No more words needed. The rest of the afternoon blurred. I ran the stand-up at 4, my first as lead. Outlined timelines, assigned tasks. No one pushed back. Mr. Harris sat in the back, nodding too much. When it ended, the team lingered, not for Jason, for direction. I gave it, clear, calm. They left, energized. I stayed late, not out of habit, out of choice. The office emptied. Lights dimmed to motion sensors. I sat in the quiet, coffee cold, now. I thought about the anger, how it had lived in my chest like a second heart, beating hot every time he lied, every time he stole, every time he smirked. I'd fed it for months, planned with it, sent the email with it. But now, it sat heavy, unnecessary. Serenity wasn't absence. It was space, room to breathe without clenching my jaw. I opened my hidden note, the timeline, scrolled to the top. Day 1. Late, wait for me. I highlighted it, deleted. One by one, I erased the entries, not forgetting, releasing. At 7:12, I shut down. The screen went black. I looked at the empty desk across the floor. No mug, no photo, just the ficus, leaves brushing the window. I stood, grabbed my bag. The anger whispered one last time, "You should gloat." I didn't. Serenity won. Clean. Final. Sometimes victory comes without applause. Friday, 2 weeks after the dust settled. I'm at my desk with the first real quiet the floor has known in months. The coffee's fresh, black, no sugar, the way I've taken it since the day Jason first called me babe, like it was a joke only he got. I let the whole thing unspool in my mind, slow and deliberate, the way you replay a movie you already know the ending to. It started the Monday he arrived 40 minutes late, sunglasses on indoors, bag thudding on the conference table, voice booming. "Oh, we haven't started yet? I thought everyone would wait for me." Mr. Harris's weak smile, the interns freezing, me just typing, then the lighting complaint. "My uncle doesn't like gloomy vibes." And the facilities guy on a ladder by noon. From there, the slide into everyday poison. His scribbled reports dumped on my keyboard with, "You're better at this than me." The quarterly presentation where he clicked through my slides and beamed, "Glad Emma understood my idea." The team chat renamed Team Sir Jason, and the pinned reminder to call him Mr. Miller. The Singapore boast, that was only a muted zoom from his couch. The threats? My uncle wouldn't like to hear about this. And the next day, someone's bonus gone, someone's desk moved to the basement. The rooftop party scheduled the exact night Henderson revisions were due. His declaration that anyone who doesn't show lacks team spirit. The write-up in my file, the morning after I stayed late alone. The photos tagging me. Emma's probably too busy being productive. While I stared at an empty sent folder he'd cleared at 2 a.m. The Apex meeting, the file gone, his panicked, maybe Emma didn't upload the final version. The CEO's glare, my bowed head, the logs I pulled at midnight, the anonymous zip file, the subject line. For those who value fairness. Suspension, silence. Cardboard box, gone. An open ending where my silence becomes a message to anyone watching, and maybe the seed for another office drama down the line. I swirl the coffee, watch the steam curl. Fairness, I've learned, isn't a raised voice or a slammed fist. It's silence when they expect noise, proof when they bet on denial. Jason thought family was armor. I proved it's a spotlight. Eventually exposes every lie. I stayed quiet, not because I was weak, but because I was counting. Every smirk, every stolen line, every deleted file. I built the case in the dark, line by line, timestamp by timestamp. One email, no signature, and the castle crumbled. No parade, no champagne. Just the soft click of a door closing behind him. Serenity over rage. Facts over feelings. That's the lesson. Justice doesn't need noise, only proof. The floor is different now. Mr. Harris asks my opinion before he speaks. Sophie still kicks my shin under the table, but it's affection, not warning. Clients say, "Emma's deck," like it's always been that way. The too bright lights Jason demanded now illuminate clean desks and real work. But justice versus forgetting pulls at me. Will they remember why the air feels breathable? Or will the next entitled face waltz in, reset the game? I don't need statues. I need memory. I need the next person to know silence can be a weapon. I turn in my chair. Jason's now empty seat waits. Ficus removed. Surface wiped. A fresh stack of onboarding folders in the center. The window behind it frames the city skyline, indifferent and glittering. No mug, no golf photo, no trace of the noise that once owned that corner. The desk is neutral again. A blank page. The elevator dings. A young woman steps out. Early 20s. Resume folded too many times. Eyes scanning like she's memorizing escape routes. She spots the empty spot, walks over, hesitates. Is anyone sitting here? Her voice is hopeful, nervous, the sound of every first day I've ever had. I look at her, think about warning her. The late arrivals, the stolen credit, the quiet wars fought in server logs. But lessons aren't lectures. They're lived. Justice fades if forgotten, but silence, strategic, sharp, echoes forever. I smiled. Go ahead. Everyone here learned something eventually. Hey, you. Yes, you. The one who's been with me through every deleted file and silent stare. Did you like my story? What city are you from? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If this hit home, support me with super thanks so I can keep spilling these real-life office dramas. Your love keeps the channel alive. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart. On screen right now, 2 new stories I handpicked. Trust me, they're wild. My channel's packed with more. Scroll, binge, you won't regret it. Hit subscribe, ring the bell. See you in the next one, with all love and respect.